Welcome to Clarity in the Boardroom, brought to you by KPMG. We are focusing on mergers and acquisitions, and we're talking to Timo Kanak, Head of M&A at KPMG Switzerland. Timo, a hugely busy year in 2018. Lots of deals happening. How many, to be precise?
Yeah, Amanda, you're right. 2018 was a fantastic year from an M&A perspective. We saw almost 500 deals with Swiss involvement. This is a record number compared to the previous years.
And when we're talking 500 deals, are we talking more about Switzerland selling companies abroad or foreign countries buying companies from Switzerland?
It's actually the case that the Swiss corporate landscape is acquiring much more businesses abroad than we sell to foreign corporates, i.e. Swiss businesses follow a very targeted global M&A approach. This is witnessed by almost 230 deals this year, whereby Swiss businesses were acquirers for foreign businesses, whereas only 110, 120 deals were seen where we sold businesses to foreign buyers.
So the vast majority of the 500 deals were actually Switzerland buying from abroad.
Exactly.
So that's a healthy sign for the economy, isn't it?
It's a very healthy sign for the economy and a very healthy sign for our corporate landscape. I mean, following the crisis in 2008 and 2009, lots of Swiss corporates have done their homework, have realigned their strategies, have refocused their setup, and now on the basis of very rich cash reserves and lots of firepower, how we call it, they are following a very targeted global M&A approach.
So it's a very strategic move.
Very strategic move, yes.
OK, let's just take a quick look at this chart, because this shows us that while we did see the most number of deals happening in 2018, 2014 was actually the record year when it comes to the deal size.
Exactly. I mean, we seen 2018 500 deals almost, which is like almost comparable, a bit more than 2014. 2014 was largely driven the values by the mega merger of Holcim and Lafarge, which was about 40 billion in size. We had some large deals in 2018, some mega deals, how we call it, executed by Novartis, ABB and Novartis, the big Swiss giants, but not to the magnitude as we saw it in 2014.
And Timo, what's more important to you, the number of deals or the size of the deals?
Yeah, obviously as an active deal maker in Switzerland, where we focus on selling and buying businesses for our clients, the number of deals is much more important for us. That keeps us busy, that keeps us going. And you know, the value as such is not always as representative as the number of deals from my perspective.
Now talk to me about private equity, because private equity plays a huge role in M&A. Maybe you can explain how that is changing and how it has changed.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, this year we saw almost 150 deals with private equity involvement. This is obviously fostered by the very favorable financing terms private equity can obtain at the moment, solid market valuations of corporates, and also increasing funds raised by this very important and very interesting asset class.
And let's just hear from an independent private equity expert, Maurice Petignana. Maurice, why is private equity so important in M&A?
Well, private equity makes eventually the corporate world more healthier. They make it more competitive and more viable.
And how does that work exactly? Tell us.
Basically, a private equity fund manager collects some institutional money and then starts to buy a portfolio company, does a first acquisition, and then quite often they do some add-on acquisitions. And with an entrepreneurial drive, they build up a huge, nice, beautiful company, but only temporarily, because in the end, after 4, 5, 6 years, they sell it to a large corporation.
Great explanation. Can you give us some examples of how this has happened recently?
We have seen the takeover of Capsugel, a private equity portfolio company, by Lonza, which has improved the Lonza competitive position tremendously. And just recently, we have seen a takeover bid by Sika to a mortar solution company, which also has been improved by a private equity owner. And this eventually will help Sika to improve its own competitive position.
And can you give us any insight into this type of activity going forward?
Well, we will see a lot more transactions, especially in the space of biotech concerning blockchain. We have a huge knowledge center here in Switzerland, and we will also see some improvements of M&A transactions in the industrial space, because industrial conglomerates have to become a lot more efficient on a global scale, and this needs some further inputs from the private equity world.
Thank you for your insight, Maurice. Now, Timo, what are we expecting for 2019? Are you expecting that the number of deals and the size of the deals are actually going to surpass previous record years?
I wouldn't give a commitment, that it's going to surpass this record year, but I'm still very, very confident for 2019. The overall market fundamentals are still good. There were some turmoil at the stock exchange lately. We see some interest rate increases globally. There are some trade wars going on between China and the US. This all might have some impact on the overall M&A market. But from a Swiss perspective, I still believe on the basis of a very solid fundamental corporate landscape and a good economic state that we have at the moment. I see a very good year also for 2019 to come from a Swiss M&A perspective.
Very good. Thank you, Timo. You heard it yourself. 2019 will be a healthy year when it comes to M&A in Switzerland. Thank you for watching.